The season is getting a bit dicey for the SDSU men's basketball team, but the Aztec women can now call themselves champions. Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez. And Steve, it appears it may very well be conference tournament or bust for the men.
Hello, Louis. Wish it could be more pleasant circumstances. Very rare indeed when the Aztecs lose 2 consecutive men's basketball games, and it couldn't have come in a worse time. And now, according to your beloved Schmetrics, the Aztecs are really up against it.
Steve, absolutely no argument here. Aztecs with 4 games left and need to win their last 4 and probably get a little help in order to even be considered for an at-large bid to the NCAA Tournament. Aztecs lose at Colorado State 83-74. Rams in their orange out jerseys to celebrate their heritage from when they were known as Colorado A&M. Aztecs in the road blacks and back to full strength. All 11 members of the rotation got some playing time, including Elsie Harrington back after missing a bunch of games. But Magoon Gwath with just 5 minutes on the floor, all in the first half. Brian Dutcher saying after the game, Gwath didn't practice much due to those injury issues, and he felt it wouldn't be fair to leave him out there. Well, they sure could have used a healthy Gwath. A weird start to this one. Both teams off to a cold start. First points of the game didn't come until the 17:47 mark, but Jeremiah Oden hot early with 5 points, including a 3, to give the Aztecs an 8-5 lead. Rams respond with a highlight reel slam from Carrie Booth to make it 8-7. And then after a Miles Heidi dunk made it 10-7 Aztecs with 15:50 left, we're getting ready for that under 16-minute TV timeout, right? Well, that didn't come. In fact, the Rams and Aztecs started this one playing 6 minutes and 49 seconds straight until the 13:11 mark without a stoppage. And you could tell both teams playing on tired legs. At that point in the game, the Rams had 0 points in a 3-minute stretch, and the Aztecs were 0 for 4 in a 2.5-minute stretch. When Sean Newman Jr. hit a 3 out of that first timeout finally at the 13:11 mark, the Aztecs had their biggest lead of the game at 13-7. But minutes later, it was 14-14, and believe it or not, the Aztecs would get no closer than 7 the rest of the way, despite both teams having trouble hitting shots. At one point, both teams had missed 15 of 17, but the Aztecs were never able to take advantage of the Rams' cold shooting, and the Rams turned it around fast. After hitting just one of their first 11 threes, they got hot, red hot, hitting 7 straight threes to turn that 6-point deficit into a 13-point halftime lead, outscoring the Aztecs 31-13. Aztecs getting scorched by Corey Booth, who had 14. Aztecs shot just 32% in the first half and just 4 of 13 from 3. CSU was 8 of 19, including those 7 straight I mentioned earlier. Miles Bird and Oden, the high scorers for the Aztecs, at just 5 points each. The second half was like watching the Aztecs play on a treadmill. It's like they were just running in place. Every time it looked like they got back in the game, the Rams would have an answer. Looks like this one was getting away from the Aztecs when Jace Butler hit a 3 at the 13:52 mark to give the Rams a 14-point lead, 50-36, on an 8-2 run. But the Aztecs went on a run of their own, thanks to 7 straight points from Farrell Compton and Taj DeGorville, and it was 50-43 Aztecs within 7. But before you could grab a handful of popcorn and take a sip of your beverage of choice, the lead was back to 13 after back-to-back wide-open threes from Brandon Recksteiner. As Brian Dutcher said after the game, you can't win when you give up 13 three-pointers, and that's exactly what the Aztecs did. They got within 7 again at the 7:41 mark at 61-54, and once more in garbage time with 14 seconds left. But an extremely disappointing performance on the road as the Aztecs fall to 18-8 on the season. Still in second place in the Mountain West and 12-4 with a game Wednesday night at home against first place Utah State a must-win and the first of 3 straight quad one games that the Aztecs must win to keep their very iffy at-large chances alive. They lose back-to-back games for the first time this season. Reese Dixon-Waters led the Aztecs with 16. Miles Bird had 14, but was also responsible for 5 of the Aztecs' 12 turnovers. Jace Butler led the Rams with 25 on 5 of 8 shooting, and Kerry Booth dropped 22. Aztecs shot just 38% on the game and were 8 of 22 from 3. Here are some post-game comments from Brian Dutcher and Reese Dixon-Waters, courtesy of San Diego Sports 760.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're on a 5-game win streak. They're playing pretty good basketball right now. And we gave them 13 threes. That's a lot of threes to overcome. Interesting called game. It was a lot of touch fouls, and then some you thought you should have had and you didn't. We shot 24 free throws. They shot 29, so a lot of free throws. We took okay of the ball, 12. Second half, our pace was way better offensively. We were so sluggish the first half. The second half, I felt like we got into our stuff quicker. We moved. We were harder to guard. And so that made us, gave us a chance to get back into the game. But every time we started cutting into it, seems like we put them on the line. You know, they were either making shots or making free throws. Yeah. So we didn't get enough stops. But you can't give in. You know, we got the 2 best teams in the league with us next 2 games. And I said, no one's going to feel sorry for you. If anything, they're going to try to pile on you right now. So there's times in the year when a coach goes in and screams at his team, but not with 4 games left.
Right.
We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in what we're doing. We have to put our work in, and then hopefully we'll be rewarded for hard work.
I think they set the tone defensively. You know, they didn't let us get into our sets, get into our actions early on. You know, and that obviously as an offensive player and as a team that frustrates you. Yeah. Then on offense, they were getting whatever they wanted. You know, they were getting offensive rebounds. They were converting on backdoor cuts, baseline drives, slot drives, kicking out the threes. You know, they really got whatever they wanted. So I think that also starts with us in practice. You know, we got to be better. Personally, I just feel like the last 2 practices we've had, we just weren't locked in as a team. So I think we just got to be better.
A friend of Aztecs All In, former CBS 8 sports producer Todd Villalobos, traveled to Fort Collins to watch the Aztecs play at Moby Arena, and he was nice enough to share his thoughts on what he saw live and in person in Fort Collins. Take it away, Todd.
All right, thanks, Lou. Yeah, on a cold Saturday night here in Fort Collins, Colorado, a cold Aztec team now has a losing streak to deal with. Just another sloppy performance, sloppy on offense, sloppy on defense, and another missing in action performance by Magoon Guath, not even getting much playing time tonight. At this point, you probably have to hope that he's injured, because if he's healthy and playing this poorly and not getting into the game, then that's probably an even bigger problem for the Aztecs. About a 75% full arena, Moby Arena here at Fort Collins on an orange out. The Rams fans wearing the old Aggie orange. They're tough to beat when they wear that Aggie orange, and they played really well tonight after a slow start, hitting 3 after 3 after 3. The Aztecs will have to figure it out, because now on a losing streak, they're going to enter a very tough stretch on their schedule, and it looks like it's going to come down to 3 days in Vegas, with the only chance to make the NCAA tournament is going to be winning 3 games in a row in Vegas. So that's what we have to root for. And that's all I got. Not much to report here. A tough night for the Aztecs in Fort Collins, Colorado. A nice group of about 20 or 30 Aztec fans. We tried to make as much noise as we could, but not much to cheer about. So we'll head back on our planes and head back in our cars back to San Diego and try again next time. Todd Villalobos from Fort Collins, Colorado. And we will see you next time for Aztecs All In.
Thank you, Todd, for that. So it's back to the practice court for the Aztecs ahead of Wednesday night's game against first place Utah State, a place where you heard Reese Dixon-Waters say earlier the Aztecs have struggled recently. Hopefully some solid spirited practices can get them back on track. So the first of those 2 straight Aztecs losses came Tuesday night against Grand Canyon, and Steve has more on that one.
Lewis, as well as the Aztecs, have played at times on offense this season. They have also tended to turn the ball over against good defensive teams, and That was just one of the many reasons why they lost their final conference game against the Grand Canyon Lopes, the Gracklopes for short. Those tendencies and numerous other factors led to the Aztecs losing their first conference game at Viejas in their last 14 attempts. Had the lead at the half, but were outscored 44-30 in the second stanza, leading to a 73-63 double-digit loss at home. The Aztec faithful heading for the exits once 7-footer F.A. Demirel, a quote, freshman from Turkey, grabbed a rebound, put it right back in for 2 of his 14 points, and Nana Owosu-Anane followed with 2 made free throws seconds later. Anane, a 6'8 grad transfer who hails from Canada by way of Brown, put the Aztecs down by 9 with a little over a minute left. Now, I've tried to say consistently that all you got to focus on is winning the dang games and that everything else will fall into place for the big dance. Well, they did not win this one. Gracklopes, the team in purple from Phoenix, added to the conference, invited to play in the Mountain West a season early, and that was after the Aztecs joined a contingent of other teams that can look forward to playing in the new Pac-12 next season. After the game, Aztecs coach Brian Dutcher underscored, though, that just-win attitude.
Top of this league is super competitive, and so we all have hard games left. You know, everybody at the top has hard games left. So we have to find a way just to keep growing as a team, try to stay positive, learn from our mistakes, take responsibility. I'll take responsibility. Each player has to take some responsibility, learn from it, and then move on. So if we play the way we're supposed to play and we win the Mountain West, we'll find our way in there. Or we'll play good enough to win the conference tournament and play our way in. So I'm not looking to have anybody give us a gift and gift our way in. We'll play our way in or we'll play our way out. But it's in our hands. And that's all I want. So our success will be based on how we perform, and that's all any team wants.
Lewis, I had to do something on this game. It's all part of Aztecs All In. Dutch and his team, they get to review the game tape, get over it, prep for more hoops still left the jupe. And Dutch talked about the need of the Aztecs to keep those big physical guards in purple out of the lanes before this game, and many times they did, but in this game, when they did, the guards still took their shots, and they either made them or drew fouls and made those at the free throw line, or when they did miss, they had their big teammates grab rebounds and make second chance points. Or they would dish the ball back outside for three-point opportunities. And that team in purple was not known for making those coming into this game. But in this game, they shot 37% from downtown, 7 of 19. Aztecs, in their own building, shot 20%, just 3 of 15. Aztecs had a lead at the half after closing with an 8-0 run, but the Gracklopes came out fast and furious in the second half, seizing the lead after less than 3 minutes of game time, and they held on to it the rest of the way. Gracklopes had 3 players in double figures, led by their big guard, Jaden Henley with 21. Demirel had 14, as we mentioned. Their other guard, Makai Williams, had 11. Miles Bird led the Aztecs with 18, but Dutch noted they needed someone else to chip in, and their other leading scorers coming into this game, B.J. Davis, Reese, Dixon-Waters, they had difficulty handling the size and strength of the Gracklopes. Magoon Guath had a frustrating night, just 4 points from the field, missing all 3 of his 3-pointers. Both teams committed 13 turnovers, but the Gracklopes converted for 18 points off the ones they generated. Aztecs managed just 8. Bird and second leading scorer Tay Simmons, a freshman who scored 9 points, talked about the loss in the media room after the game. They still retain their confidence despite underachieving to this point in the minds of some, expecting them to be more than a team on the bubble.
Obviously, conference tournament's 3 weeks away. We'll worry about that when it comes. For us, it's just continue to stack days. Obviously, if you asked me when I envisioned, I'd say we would have gone undefeated, but I would have been an idiot to say that. So, you just got to keep trusting the process. I trust everybody in that locker room. Obviously, we're still down LZ, who's a big player for us, averages 9 points, lost tonight by 10, so who knows? Maybe that makes a difference. But, I think we can't really start thinking like that. We're frustrated, obviously, right now, but when we wake up tomorrow, you got to drop it, you got to get in, watch some film, and learn from it. I'm still super confident in this team. I think we're the best team in this conference, and I'm going to continue to say that.
I want to add to that. Like, we don't care what other people have to say about us. Like, I think that's a really important fact that, like, who cares if they had us, winning before this even started? Like, that's before the season. Like, we don't care. It's between us 15 guys, and that's what's going to get us the win, not whatever these other people think about us. So I think that's kind of what we do good as a team, is we realize that people are going to love us when we're winning and beating people by 20, and they're going to hate us when we lose. Like, oh, my gosh, they're not going to win. But, like, that doesn't matter because they don't know basketball. So at a certain point in time, it's just us in the locker room. That's all that matters.
No published figures for the Gracalopes men's basketball program's NIL budget. It's a private Christian school, non-profit as a matter of fact. But from the way Dutch talked about it after the game, the Gracalopes may have more for their roster than most other teams in the conference. But he also gave a nod to their coaching staff led by Bryce Drew. This private non-profit Christian school has made it to the NCAA Tournament 4 out of the last 5 years under his direction. Over to you, Lewis.
Thank you, Steve. Some more Aztec news before we sign off. The Aztecs women's basketball team clinched a share of the Mountain West regular season Saturday with a 68-59 home win against Fresno State. The Aztecs improved to 16-1 in Mountain West play, setting a new program record for conference wins. Aztecs led this one for most of the game, took a 14-point lead midway through the fourth quarter before the Bulldogs got within 5, but the Aztecs were able to finish them off. Nala Williams had 14 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. Kaylin Hamilton added 11, and Nat Martinez had 10. After the game, the Aztecs were presented with the championship trophy, and they got to cut those nets down. This was their second win of the week. On Wednesday, the Aztecs took down second-place UNLV 80-62 at Viejas Arena, with all 5 starters scoring in double figures and outscoring the Rebels 25-11 in the fourth quarter. Aztecs close out the regular season on the road against Boise State, senior night at home against Wyoming, and finish on the road at Air Force before the Mountain West Conference Tournament begins the following weekend. And quickly, some baseball news. The Aztecs opened the 11th annual Tony Gwynn Legacy in style Friday, shutting out BYU 3-0 to improve their early season record to 4-1 under new coach Kevin Advance. That's their best start since 2020. The Aztecs have posted double-digit strikeouts in all 5 games this season, matching its longest streak in 2 years. So, Steve, send us on home.
Thank you, Lewis, and thank you for checking us out on Aztecs All In, where you are very much appreciated if you can subscribe, like, and all that good stuff wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Check us out on the X at Aztecs_all_in. Drop dimes on us via the Google, all-knowing, almighty, Aztecs All In at gmail.com. So, for Louis Wiener, I'm Steve Perez. Check back in with you soon.